Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video today. We'll go through some of the main newspapers as we have been doing in recent times, see what is happening here in the press. We'll look at El Mundo, El Pais, the state broadcaster, El Confidencial, and then at the end of the video we'll go into the comment section and see what is happening there. The news today is all about the Catalonian elections that were held yesterday, the winners, the losers, and there were some big winners and there were some big losers, but it looks as though nothing is going to change in Catalonia. But we'll have a look at what has happened in Catalonia and see what the different newspapers around the country are saying about the election results. So let's get into the news. We'll go straight to El Mundo and we can see the main headline here, bang smack in the middle of the newspaper, El triunfo de Illa no evita el fortalecimiento del separatismo. So Illa's triumph or victory does not prevent the strengthening of separatism in Catalonia. And that, of course, is the main news story of the day. Mr. Illa, as we know, is the former health minister here in Spain. He was the main face of the pandemic over the last year or so. He recently resigned to go and take up this position in Catalonia and try to win the elections, which he did. He was the most voted candidate. It was a very good result for the Socialist Party in Catalonia, the best they have done in recent years, but probably not enough to get Mr. Illa into the main position there in Catalonia, because those separatist parties also did quite well in the election. So Mr. Illa is successful, but one party that wasn't successful was the Citizens Party, and they had an absolute mare of a day yesterday. As we can see in this headline here, los críticos exigen a Arremadas dimisiones y ella descarte destituciones tras la debacle. So the critics of the Citizens Party are demanding resignations from the leader Arremadas, but she has ruled out dismissals after the debacle. So the Citizens Party absolutely smashed yesterday. We'll have a look at a graph in a minute to see exactly how many seats they lost, but a terrible day out yesterday for that party. This debacle comes on the back of another debacle that particular party had a few years ago in the national elections. They did very badly there as well. So the question I have is, what is the future of this party? Are they going to be able to bounce back, or is it hasta luego Lucas for this political party? Time will tell. Now we'll scroll down a little bit. There was another piece of news that caught my attention, and it's this one here. So we'll click on that and see what it's about. And it's related to the pension system here in Spain, something that we have been speaking about in recent times. And the headline, as we can see, El viejo noreste de España, 5 provincias tienen ya solo un cotizante por cada pensión. So the old northwest of Spain, 5 provinces now only have one contributor for each pensioner. And the by-headline says that in Lugo, Asturias, Zamora and León, the ratio is practically 1-to-1, and in the province of Ourense in Galicia, there are even more pensioners than workers contributing to the social security system. So a headline like that one really puts the pension crisis here in Spain into perspective. In the north of the country, there are 5 provinces that have a ratio of 1 worker to 1 pensioner, and I think for the system to be viable, you need to have at least 4 or 5 workers for every pensioner. So things not looking good in that particular part of the world. And what is the solution for the pension system here in Spain? We saw yesterday that some pensioners around the country were protesting, saying that it's all a scam, that the government is trying to use the pandemic as an excuse to lower pensions, but we get headlines like this one that tell us that in some parts of the Spain the system is just not viable. So who do we believe? Now we'll leave El Mundo, we'll go to El Pais, see what is happening there. Again, the main news about the election, as we can see the graph here. I'm not going to have a look at the graph in much detail at the moment because there's a better graph coming up in another newspaper. So we'll scroll down and see if we can get any other information about this. We can see that everybody's on the same page when it comes to the elections, more or less, and we can see that the ERC is trying to make contact with other separatist parties in order to form a government. And we'll scroll down and have a look at this article here about the government. We'll click on that one, and we can see here, el gobierno se siente reforzado y ve cómo se hunde la oposición del PP. So the socialist government feels reinforced by their results in the Catalan election, and they are seeing how the opposition party, the PP, has been sunk. The PP, or the Partido Popular, was another loser in yesterday's election, only coming up with 3 seats, I think. To be honest, they haven't really been popular in that part of the world for quite a while now. So many people not surprised by the results of the PP in Catalonia, but they did lose quite a few votes to their nemesis Vox. We'll check that out in a moment. In fact, we'll take a look now because the leader of Vox, Santiago Abascal, has spoken, and he said earlier today that we will recover the Catalonia of Concord, the Hispanic Catalonia, and the Catalonia that is proud of its Spanishness. So Vox on the front foot there and very happy with their results in Catalonia. The same can't be said as we saw before about the Partido Popular, as Vox is taking all of those extreme votes in Catalonia, and obviously appealing to those voters who feel more Spanish than Catalan. Now we'll leave El Pais and we'll go to RTVE, the state broadcaster, because they have quite a good graph here, and we'll check out the results of the election. We can see Mr. Illa there. He managed to get 33 seats, up 16 from the last election. The ERC candidate, 33 seats, up 1. The Junts candidate, 32 seats, down 2. Vox there in the middle with 11 seats, 7.96% of the vote. I think it's the first time that they have been in the elections in Catalonia. That's why we don't have a comparison. The CUP, 9 seats, up 5. En Comú Podem stays at 8 seats. And the big loser in yesterday's elections, the CIS Party or Citizens Party, with only 6 seats and down 30 from the last elections. And of course, there bringing up the rear is the Partido Popular with 3 seats, down 1 from the last elections. Now we'll leave RTVE, we'll go to El Confidencial, see what they're talking about today. We'll scroll down past the graphics and we'll have a look at this one here. Civil war on the right, the PSC advances, and sovereignty and abstention kills the CIS Party. So guerra civil en la derecha. So quite a dramatic headline there from El Confidencial, civil war on the right, but that is what's happening at the moment. The Partido Popular is almost dead in the water, at least in places like Catalonia, and worrying for some people to see a party like Vox getting 10 seats in those elections. The Partido Popular has all of those corruption scandals still hanging over its head, and we can see that Vox is gaining ground as a lot of the PP supporters are moving further to the right. So bad news for the leader of the Partido Popular, Mr. Casado, and good news for the leader of Vox, Mr. Abascal. But this, I imagine, is going to be a dirty war on the right side of politics here in Spain. Now, we'll leave the news there. As we have seen, not much happening today except analysis and results from the Catalan elections. We'll go into the comment section and see what's happening there. We'll have a look at this one here from David. Spain will enforce the vaccine passport like Greece, Italy, Croatia to get tourism. Oh, and Turkey and Portugal. Yeah, David, thanks for the comment. As far as I know, there's nothing official on this topic yet. I know that the European Union is discussing a vaccine passport, and Spain, of course, would join other European countries in setting up this vaccine passport in order to get safe tourism back into the country. But as I said, I don't think there's anything official yet, but I think there's a very high chance that we will see something like this announced in coming weeks or months. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll have a look at this one here from Ben. Not sure if you've seen the graphic for completed vaccines given, that is both shots. Israel is well ahead at 26%, but Spain is actually doing very well in 4th or 5th place. The UK is well down the list as they are relying on their strategy of giving the vaccine doses within their 12-week time frame rather than 3 weeks. Yeah, Ben, thanks for the comment and thanks for pointing that out. And thanks to other people in the comment section that also mentioned that the UK is at 15 million doses of the vaccine administered, but only the first dose and not the second ones, and therefore they are not as advanced as some people might think they are. I did check out a graph earlier today, and Spain was in position number 5, I think, in a list of countries that have administered both doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. So things not going too badly according to that graph. But the thing that I'm most interested in is whether the government can keep their word and get that 70% of the population vaccinated by the summer, which is what the Prime Minister told us last week and various politicians have been saying over the journey. That's what I'm interested in. So we'll keep an eye on that, and hopefully things will start to speed up once Spain gets its hands on those 100 million doses of the vaccines, which apparently are going to be made here in Spain, but not sure exactly when they're going to be available. And finally, one here from John. Hi, great video. I was in Spain, Madrid in 2018. I spent several months there and really liked it. I found it difficult to get a job. I got temporary work as an English language assistant, but that ended due to the school going on summer break. Just wondering if it's worth going back and how best to prepare for the job market. Is it worth studying for a TEFL qualification, as I know there are many people who work in this area in Madrid? Yeah, John, thanks for the comment, and you're right, it's not easy to get a job here in Spain. You only have to look at the unemployment rate to realise that, but historically it hasn't been difficult to get a job as an English teacher. I remember that when I first came to Spain it was very easy to get a job. I think that's the case when you come to a big city here in Spain where there is quite a lot of demand. But I imagine that since the pandemic that demand has dropped off a little bit. I recently advertised looking for a teacher and I got a lot of interest. So I think there are quite a few people out there looking for work at the moment because obviously due to the pandemic a lot of companies would have cut back on their training plans. So I don't know if it's a good time to come to Spain and look for a job. I would probably wait a couple of years until the economy starts to recover. But if you do decide to come to Spain and try your luck, I would definitely recommend getting a TEFL certificate or a CELTA certificate, because it will improve your chances of getting a job here in Spain. On that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the situation out as you normally do. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Hasta mañana.